you all to celebrate today's International Women's Day. Today, we come together to honor the strength, resilience, and accomplishments of women across the world. We are here to reflect on how far we have come. As we gather today, we recognize that the contributions of women are boundless, whether in leadership, science, education, healthcare, arts, or in profession. We celebrate every woman, every girl, and every ally who stands alongside with them. Today is a day to celebrate women in concise with her profession. So let's start with this special event with a round of applause for all the amazing audience here today. I request all the dignitaries on the dais for lighting the traditional lamp and garlanding the portrait of Savitribai Phule. To welcome our today's chief guest of the program, Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Phate Madam, with a sapling. Thank you, sir. Sir, Secretary of District Bar Association, Nagpur, to welcome our today's guest of honor, Honorable Principal District Judge, Shri D.P. Surana, sir, with a sapling. Thank you, sir. I request Advocate Usha Guzar, Madam, Vice President of District Bar Association, Nagpur, to welcome our guest of honor, Honorable Shrimati Shripeda Pongshe Madam, with a sampling. Thank you, Madam. I request Advocate Sandeep Bavangade, sir, Joint Secretary of District Bar Association, Nagpur, to welcome our today's keynote speaker, Dr. Varsha Deshpande Madam, with a sapling. Thank you, sir. I request Advocate Usha Guzar, Madam, the single lady who represents of District Bar Association, for introductory remark.
नमस्कार. सर्वप्रथम जागतिक महिला दिनाच्या, आंतरराष्ट्रीय जागतिक महिला दिनाच्या आपणा सर्वांना खूप खूप जिल्हा बारच्या वतीने शुभेच्छा. सन्माननीय मंचावर उपस्थित असलेले सन्माननीय न्यायमूर्ती श्रीमती उर्मिला जोशी फाळके मॅडम, आमचे आणि आपल्यातलेच सन्माननीय प्रिन्सिपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज श्री सुराणा सर, तसंच आमच्या प्रत्येक कार्यक्रमाला आम्ही ओ देताच हो म्हणणाऱ्या श्रीमती पोंक्षे मॅडम आणि कार्यक्रमाची रूपरेषा सांगून कार्यक्रमाचं निमंत्रण देताच ज्यांनी आपला कन्सेंट दिला आणि मला असं वाटतं की मागे सगळे बसलेले मॅडमला ऐकायला आलेले आहेत अशा आजच्या कार्यक्रमाच्या कीनोट स्पीकर सन्माननीय देशपांडे मॅडम, आपल्या बारचे अध्यक्ष आणि सन्माननीय सचिव, ज्यांच्या अथक प्रयत्नांनी आपण आपल्या बारची आणि कार्यक्रमाची यशस्वी वाटचाल करतो असे सन्माननीय बागडे सर आणि सन्माननीय रणदिवे साहेब. खरं पाहिलं तर आता बोलता बोलता एमओसीमध्ये एक शब्द वापरला गेला आणि त्या शब्दाचा गहन अर्थ आपण सगळ्या महिलांनी आज घ्यायलाच पाहिजे असं मला वाटतं. म्हणताना जर सिंगल वुमन म्हटलं तर मी मॅडमला सुद्धा इथे सांगू इच्छिते की मॅडम, आमचा 9,000 वकिलांचा बार आहे आणि आय थिंक इट वुड बी वन ऑफ दी लार्जेस्ट बार इन दी इंडिया. 9,000 मेंबर्सच्या बारमध्ये आम्ही जवळपास 2,750 लेडी ॲडव्होकेट्स आहोत आणि ज्या वेळेला 2,750 लेडी ॲडव्होकेट्स जर बारची मेंबरशिप घेऊन सक्रिय न्यायदानाच्या प्रक्रियेत आपला पण वाटा देतात, त्यावेळेला मला असं वाटतं की आमच्या इथे हा कार्यक्रम अटेंड करायला आलेले आमचे वकील बंधू पण आहेत, तर त्यामुळे आम्हाला यापुढे पण असाच इलेक्शनमध्ये वाव देण्यात यावा आणि आमचाही विचार करण्यात यावा. जिथे एकटी महिला काम करत असते त्यावेळेला सुरुवातीला असं एक अडचण होत असते आणि असं मनात वाटतं की अरे आता मी तिथे एकटीच आहे तर काम कसं करणार. पण आपला बार इतका हेल्दी ॲटमॉस्फिअरमधला आहे की इथे सगळ्या माझ्या डाव्या भागाला सगळ्या सिनियर्स बसलेले आहेत. त्यात आता प्रत्येकाची नावं घेतली तर सन्माननीय चांदेकर मॅडम, बियाला मॅडम, राय मॅडम, खाडे मॅडम आणि अजून सगळ्या माझ्या मागे पण बसलेल्या सगळे सिनियर्स आहेत. या सगळ्या सिनियर्सच्या मार्गदर्शनातूनच एक मला काम करण्याची इथे प्रेरणा मिळते आणि अशीच प्रेरणा या सगळ्या सिनियर्सकडनं पुढच्यासुद्धा येणाऱ्या रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्स करता राहील अशी मी अपेक्षा करते. कार्यक्रमाचं औचित्य म्हणजे असं की महिला दिवस हा आतापर्यंत आपण जवळपास 5 ते 6 कार्यक्रम फ्रॅटर्निटीच्या माध्यमातून केलेले आहेत आणि रोजच महिला दिवस असतो हे असं सगळ्यांचं प्रांजळ मत आहे. पण रोजच महिला दिवस असतो तर आपणही काहीतरी रिकग्नाइज होईल असं काम मला असं वाटतं की आपल्या माध्यमातून करायला पाहिजे. कारण वकील हा समाजाशी फार जुळलेला आणि रुळलेला असतो, त्यामुळे समाज सुधारण्याकरता सुद्धा वकिलांचा खूप मोठा हात असतोच आणि खूप मोठा हातभार वकिलांनी लावायलाही पाहिजे. तेव्हा मी इतकंच सांगेन की मी माझ्या परीने सिनियर्सच्या मार्गदर्शनाने बारच्या स्पेशली फिमेल ॲडव्होकेट्स करता जे करता येईल त्याचा 100% मी देण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि करणार यापुढे पण. पण या अनुषंगाने इतकंच म्हणता येईल की बरेच आपण कार्यक्रम घेतो, जसं वर्षात पहिला कार्यक्रम जो असतो तो मकर संक्रांतीचा घेतो, पण आपण तो त्या वेगळ्या टायटलखाली घेतो की विचारांचं आदानप्रदान हेच आधुनिक युगाचं वाण आणि त्या अनुषंगानं अकॅडमिक सेशन कसं आपल्याला स्ट्रॉंग करता येईल आहे सो दॅट आपण पण न्यायदानाच्या प्रक्रियेत आपला 100% आपल्याला देऊन समाज सुधारण्याकडे पण आपल्याला नेण्याची गरज आहे. त्यामुळे मला असं वाटतं की आपण खरं पाहिलं तर इथे वक्त्यांना ऐकायला आज आलेलो आहोत, त्यामुळे आपल्याला आज जास्तीत जास्त वेळ हा त्यांनाच द्यायला पाहिजे. म्हणून मी आपल्याला फक्त इतकं बोलू शकते की आपण अशीच साथ देत राहा आणि असेच सोबत सगळे मिळून आपण काम करूया इथे आवर्जून उपस्थित असलेले माझे जे वकील बंधू आहेत त्यांचं सुद्धा खूप खूप अभिनंदन करते आणि आपली रजा घेते. थँक्यू.
Thank you so much, madam. I request Honorable District Judge Pongshe Madam to address the gathering on this occasion. Madam, please.
आदरणीय न्यायमूर्ती उर्मिला जोशी फलके मॅडम, आदरणीय रिस्पेक्टेड प्रिन्सिपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट अँड सेशन जज आणि उपस्थित सगळे मान्यवर आणि आपण सर्व वकील बंधू आणि भगिनींनो, मला अचानक सांगितलं की काहीतरी बोलायचं. मला असं माहिती होतं की आम्ही फक्त आज ऐकायला आलो, पण आत्ता एकदम सांगितल्यावर मला समजत नाही आहे, पण एक नक्की छान वाटतं की हा विशेष कार्यक्रम महिलांसाठी ह्या बारनी अरेंज केला आणि त्याला सगळे मेल ॲडव्होकेटसुद्धा प्रेझेंट आहेत. आणि हे असं खूप क्वचित बघायला मिळतं, कारण महिलांनी महिलांचा सत्कार स्वतः करायचा असंच दृश्य अजूनही सगळीकडे आहे. आणि त्यामुळे आम्ही महिला दिन असलं की आम्हीच महिला जमतो, आपणच आपले सत्कार करतो, आपण किती छान काम करतो, घरची कामं करतो, बाहेर इथे येऊन काम करतो, पण आपल्या कामाचं ॲप्रिसिएशन करायला आपले ब्रदर बऱ्याचदा अनुपस्थित असतात. आणि त्यातली ही आत्ता जी म्हणजे संख्या बघता मला असं दिसतं की खरोखरच नागपूरमध्ये महिला आणि पुरुष हे एकत्र साथीने एकत्रपणे काम करतायत आणि महिला वकिलांना खरोखरच प्रोत्साहित करतायत, सपोर्ट करतायत आणि हे अत्यंत चांगलं दृश्य आहे. आणि मला असं म्हणावंसं वाटतं की खरोखरच नागपूरमध्ये प्रगती खऱ्या अर्थाने झालेली आहे आणि ही अशीच प्रगती आपल्याला अपेक्षित आहे. आपण जेंडर बायस न ठेवता कामाशी केंद्रित राहून काम कसं उत्तमरित्या करता येईल आणि त्याच्यामध्ये आपलं जेंडर कोणत्याही कामासाठी आड येणार नाही असं आम्ही महिलासुद्धा नक्कीच ग्वाही देतो. आणि अशीच कामं आपण एकत्रितरित्या उत्तम करू आणि आपल्याला एक संधी आहे की समाज प्रगतशील बनवण्याची एक धुरा आपल्या सगळ्यांवर आहे आणि आपण ती चांगल्या रीतीने पार पाडू असं मी अपेक्षा करते आणि माझे 2 शब्द संपवते. थँक्यू.
Thank you so much, madam, for your inspiring words. I request Honorable Principal District Judge Surana sir to address the gathering on this occasion.
माननीय न्यायमूर्ती श्रीमती उर्मिला जोशी फलके मॅडम, न्यायाधीश मुंबई उच्च न्यायालय, माझी बहीण वंशे मॅडम, डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर लॉ कॉलेज इथून या कार्यक्रमात ॲड्रेस करण्यासाठी आलेले देशपांडे मॅडम, डॉक्टर देशपांडे मॅडम, नागपूर बार असोसिएशनचे पदाधिकारी आणि माझे वकील भगिनी आणि बंधूंनो, हा एक आठवडा जो असतो त्याच्यात नक्कीच महिलांमध्ये एक स्पार्क असतो, पण स्पार्क असतं. आणि सुदैव असं आहे की 8 तारखेला माझ्या साडीचं वाढदिवस आहे आणि 1 तारखेला 1 मार्चला माझ्या वाईफचा वाढदिवस असतो आणि या दोघांच्या वाढदिवसाच्या मधात माझा वाढदिवस असतो. म्हणून हा आठवडा जो आहे तो साजरा करावाच लागतो. एक कवी आहे, त्यांनी मी जेव्हा स्कूल लाईफमध्ये होतो तेव्हा त्यांनी म्हटलं आहे की ऐसा मेरा देश सजीला धीर वीर प्रणवीर हटीला जिसने इस पर आग उठाई उसने ही बस की काई क्योंकि हर नर नाहर के समान यहाँ हर नारी आणला. तर त्या कवीने खूप सुंदर शब्दात नरला नहारची म्हणजे शेरची उपमा दिली आहे. आणि नारीला अंगाऱ्याची उपमा दिली आहे. परंतु मी जेव्हा या पंक्तीचं गहन अध्ययन केलं तेव्हा असं लक्षात आलं की नहार जो आहे म्हणजे शेर जो आहे तो आगीनं डरतो. पुढचं नाही. पहा नारी, आता मी माझे स्पेक्स वेगळे आहेत, परंतु मी जेव्हा माझ्या बहिणीला एक नारी म्हणून पाहतो, माझ्या आईला जेव्हा नारी म्हणून पाहतो, तेव्हा माझी ती जी प्रतिमा आहे माझ्या डोक्यात ती अगदी म्हणजे कोणी शब्दात बयान करू शकत नाही अशी आहे. आणि या उलट जेव्हा मी माझ्या बायकोबद्दल विचार करतो तर थोडीशी प्रतिमा तर जेंडर बायस आहे. आणि मला असं वाटते की हा जेंडर बायसपणा जो आहे तो काय महिलांमध्ये नाही आहे का? तो महिलांमध्येही आहे. जेव्हा ती आपल्या वडिलाला, माझी वाईफ आपल्या वडिलाला पाहते आणि भावाला पाहते, त्या अनुषंगाने माझ्याकडे खरंच पाहते. आता पोंक्षे मॅडमला विनंती आहे की घरी काही घेऊन देऊ नका. पण ती आता जी अगोदरची स्थिती होती महिलांची ती मला नाही वाटत की आजच्या परिस्थितीमध्ये ती आहे. परंतु अजूनही पुष्कळ वाटचाल आहे आपल्याला की ज्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला महिलांना अगदी सशक्तीकरण करणं गरजेचं आहे. कारण आता लिडरशिप मी कॉन्फरन्स नॅशनल ज्युडिशियल ऑफ अकॅडमीला गेलो होतो. त्याच्यामध्ये हा डिबेटचा एक थोडासा इश्यू होता की लीव टेकन बाय female employees of paternity and other leaves which they are required. So I said that now it is a fundamental right. It is decided that they are entitled anyhow for this leave. But there was a debate amongst internal debates among the judges. It hampers the judicial work. It hampers the administrative work. So whatever may be, but again I have to change my specs while granting that leave. Seeing that whether had it been the fact she would have been my sister, she would have been my mother, she is also sister of someone else, she is also mother of someone else, and now she is going to become a mother of someone else. So therefore in my view I said that now those leaves are required for them because the child who is coming will be a citizen of India. And for upliftment of that child who is a citizen of India, this leave is very, very necessary. So I express my views, but ladyship, I admire that, I accept that the views which was earlier which male members were carrying are not the same views which we in this era are carrying. सिटी सिव्हिलला leadership होत्या, त्यांनी स्वतः पाहिलेलं आहे की 70% फिमेल एम्प्लॉईज. दिंडोशीला हीच परिस्थिती आहे. हायकोर्टात 60-70% female employees आहे. आणि I have personally seen their work. They are more excellently doing their job as compared to male members. They are more meticulous. ते 5:45 वाजता त्यांचे बॅगेजेस जे आहेत ते सगळे साहित्य भरायला सुरुवात करतात, परंतु 5:45 वाजेपर्यंत त्यांचं पूर्ण वर्क कम्प्लीट होऊन जातो. I have not seen in rare cases female used to stay after 5:45, but male used to continue with their work. So they are more prompt because they have to handle two platforms, one where there is the workplace and another where really their family. So handling two sides is very difficult. So you are tackling more two battlefields at same time. So salute to all females, including my wife also. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now, as we are eagerly waiting to hear today's keynote speaker, respected Dr. Varsha Deshpande Madam, on the topic, the role of women in modern era with the context of women's law. Prior to that, I would like to take an opportunity to know about our today's speaker. Dr. Harsha Deshpande Madam is a legal academic and is a professor and head of the Department of Law of Dr. Ambedkar College, Dishaburi. Madam has an experience of more than 21 years in the field of teaching. Madam has areas of interest include constitutional law, jurisprudence, and gender issues. Madam is widely invited for delivering lectures on law at different law universities and colleges. Madam is a regular trainer of the Institute of Military Law, New Delhi, and Madam's lectures have received a great appreciation from not just officers of the Indian Army and Navy, but also the defense officers from the countries including the United States. Madam is an athlete, master of ceremony, and has been specially invited at high-profile government program of the then Presidents of India, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Mrs. Pratibha Devi Patil, as well as the President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu. Madam had been invited thrice, specially for delivering lectures on constitutional law for the fellows of Chief Minister's ambitious fellowship program in Maharashtra during the first regime of Shri Devendra Fadnavis. Madam awarded the title of Law Guru and the late Shri R.B. Pendharkar Professional Excellence Award was conferred on her proficiency in law teaching at the installation ceremony of the High Court Bar Association Nagpur in April 2022. Madam writes poetry as her personal passion. Also, her educational lectures on several topics of constitutional law can be found on her YouTube channel by the name Dr. Harsha Deshpande. Please welcome to our today's keynote speaker with a huge round of applause. I request respected Dr. Harsha Deshpande Madam for valuable insights.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The esteemed Judge of the Nagpur Bench of the Bombay High Court, Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Pharke, the Honorable Principal District Judge Shri Surana Ji, Honorable District Judge Srimati Bongshi, the President of the District Bar Association Nagpur, Advocate Bagde Sir, General Secretary Sri Ranjit, Vice President of the District Bar Association, Advocate Usha Buzarji. This huge galaxy of lawyers in the auditorium today, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, for the International Women's. This evening today is very, very special to me for a wide variety of reasons. The foremost reason among them is that today I get the very, very rare honor and grace of sharing the esteemed dais with such erudite people like the Honorable Judge, Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Pharke, as also erudite judges like Shri Surana Ji and Madam Bongshi. This is indeed a rare honor that has been bestowed upon me by virtue of this program, and I shall truly remain indebted to the Nagpur District Bar Association for this wonderful opportunity that you have brought my way. The second and the more particular reason why I look at this evening as a special and rare evening is because I have rarely, or rather never before, seen this, at least in our city of Nagpur, कि एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम जिसमें सारे इन्वॉल्व लोग जो हैं, दे आर लॉयर्स एंड एस्टीम्ड जजेस, और ऐसे प्रोग्राम में एक टॉक डिलीवर करने के लिए लीगल अकेडमिया में से किसी को बुलाया जाए. I think the District Bar Association has taken a path-breaking move by inviting a person from legal academics in a program that is so hugely dominated by lawyers and judges. Madam, this is something that has always profoundly pained me personally, कि मुझे लगता है कि हमारे फील्ड में जितना रोबस्ट एंगेजमेंट लीगल एकेडमिक्स और प्रोफेशन का एक्चुअली होना चाहिए, we still see the two walking two different streets apart. I think for smallest of things, including things like improving the quality of the bar, can magnanimously happen if the profession and academics really walk hand in hand. And therefore, this is another particular reason for me today, and I must really applaud and thank in legal academy. I will live up to that confidence. Let me begin my talk this evening by giving a kind of a loud disclaimer. I'm completely aware of the reality that I am an honest attempt on my own within the limited constraints of my own knowledge and understanding of law. And hence, this disclaimer comes first. Friends, as I, honestly pondered when Advocate Gujar Madam contacted me and she gave me the topic for this talk today and said that, Madam, we want you to speak on the role of women in the modern era, especially in the context of laws relating to women. And I started to ponder over this and I started to organize my thoughts about इसमें क्या बोला जा सकता है. And when I gave a serious thought to it, I actually realized that it is not really possible for us to conceive the role of women in modern era in the context of women's laws or in whatever context. ये role हम conceive तब तक नहीं कर पाएंगे जब तक हम इस प्रॉब्लम के जड़ तक ना पहुंचे. So, phrases like women empowerment, phrases like gender justice, gender equality, these are all effervescent phrases of the modern age. हम बहुत सारा एक्टिविज्म ये women empowerment को सराउंड करता हुआ एक्टिविज्म हमको हर पब्लिक स्पेस में दिखाई देता है. But if we go a little deeper into this and try to ask ourselves this question, कि भाई क्यों हमें जरूरत पड़ती है that we talk about women empowerment? The reason apparently seems quite obvious, that we need to engage with women empowerment for the simple reason that women are disempowered. But I think we need to go a little deeper into it and ask ourselves this question, that what has been the root cause behind the subordination of women within societies? If we try to look at this, I am reminded of the account that feminism puts forth before us about this. Feminism ये मानता है कि women's subordination या discrimination against women इसका एकमात्र root cause है, इसका एकमात्र root source है, and that source, according to them, is the very, very faulty model of division of labor that we have adopted within societies. So they argue, feminism argues, कि हमने families के अंदर division of labor within families is a good thing to do. But the model of division of labor that came to be adopted was a faulty model, and that lies at the heart of subordination of women all across the globe. So, there's something called as the natural differences theory, which is the starting point of this entire phenomenon. तो हम कहते हैं कि भाई by nature itself, men and women are created different, right? So by nature itself, nature has accorded a different set of functions for the feminine body and different set of functions for the man. So, child rearing, child bearing, feeding the child on birth are by nature commanded to be the functions of the woman. So far, so good. Problem यहाँ पर आया कि हमने ये natural differences theory को शायद आगे चल के समय के साथ साथ we extended it to pretty unnatural extents. So we started saying that look, giving birth to the child and feeding the child is the responsibility of the woman. So look, looking after the nutritional needs of not just the child but of the entire family is also the job of the woman. Cooking good food for the whole family is the job of the woman. Looking after the health and hygiene of everybody in the family is the woman's role. To make sure that your house remains spick and span and clean is the job of the woman. Right? So what did we do? From the natural differences theory, we ended up into role allocation that was defined on a singular criterion, and that was the criterion of sex. तो हमने केवल और केवल सेक्स के आधार पर रोल्स को सोसाइटी के अंदर एलोकेट किया और हमने कहा कि भाई देखो, डोमेस्टिक स्फीयर यदि है तो वो महिलाओं का स्फीयर है, यदि घर चलाने का मामला है तो वो महिलाओं का मामला है, एंड ये घर गृहस्थी चलने के लिए जो बाहर जाके काम करके पैसा कमाना, ये जो जिम्मेदारी है वो पुरुषों की जिम्मेदारी है. Right? So, in this model of role allocation that we engaged into, let us remember we did not leave any scope for personal preferences or personal choices to play a role. So, if there was a man who was genuinely interested in allowing his culinary skills to blossom, we said that no, look, that's not your domain. Kitchen में काम करना ये तुम्हारा रोल नहीं है. You go out, you work, you earn money. That's the role of the man. And remember, the moment we said the man must be the one who will go out and earn money, with money, ladies and gentlemen, came power. And from here began the entire story of victimization and subordination of women. Because, then we started saying that if a girl child was born, for example, we said कि भाई इसको आगे जाके घर गृहस्थी तो चलाना है, so why invest money in educating her? We denied her the right to education. We denied her all opportunities for her self-development and self-growth. We said घर में रहने वाली महिला इसको politics का क्या समझ में आएगा? Woman was denied the right to vote as well. Remember, a country like United States of America had to go through the suffragette movement till women would be given the right to vote. So the point that I'm canvassing before all of you, ladies and gentlemen, is that, the natural differences theory was, well, fine enough. That's the way nature created us differently. But the extent to which we pulled this natural differences theory was indeed unnatural. And then we started saying that the financial burdens that came with the birth of a girl child resulted into the girl child not being wanted into the family at all. So female infanticide, female feticide, all these practices started. As I looked through the whole history, because as I said, why am I going into the history? Because I think honestly that we cannot weave the trajectory of our future road. We cannot really be conceiving the role that women should be playing in the modern era unless we really look at the whole paradigm that gender, justice has traveled or journeyed through till today. So the point here is that, महिलाओं का subordination, ये एक social reality तो no doubt थी. But to my mind, the bigger problem in this realm was that this subordination and discrimination did not really stop at being a mere social reality. The bigger problem lay in the fact that even the laws in our country somewhere endorsed subordination. यहाँ पर मुझे personally लगता है the bigger problem lay there. So it was not just हमारे समाज की एक reality तो थी ही थी. Looking down upon women and exploitation and subordination. But somewhere our laws in the country also endorsed this subordination, and that, to my mind, appears as a bigger problem. So look at our laws, which for a very, very long period of time denied women the right to property. Not just that our laws denied to women the right to property, in my opinion, for a very long period of time, a woman was herself looked upon as the property of the man. I'm sure this august legal gathering present here would not fail in being reminded of the draconian section 497 of the hitherto Indian Penal Code, the provision of adultery that was there. You know, right from the year 1860 जब से हमारा penal code बना, हमने इस प्रकार का provision भी allowed it to remain as a valid provision on the statute book until 2018 when Joseph Shine's case really struck down that provision as unconstitutional. So I think the provision of adultery in our hitherto penal code was a great example of how much and to what extent our law actually endorsed, it actually sanctioned gender inequality within the society. So adultery as a provision was always looked upon as an offense against the husband of that woman who engaged into the adulterous act. It was never conceived to be an offense against the wife of that man who engaged into that act. Your law said a woman can never be convicted of the offense of adultery. I argue that by putting such a provision within the statute book, we have even denied moral agency to a woman. Further ahead, the section went on to say that if the husband of that woman connives. Now my objection is not just against, the content of 497, but also the vocabulary that the law used back then. I don't understand how the law could use a word like connive within the text of that section. But it went on to tell us that यदि वो husband ये sexual intimacy को consent करता है, then it does not amount to any offense in law. I think 497 was an illuminating example about how our law itself sanctioned gender equality. Look at that, another statute, Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. Section 6 of the Act, what did it initially say? It said, who is the natural guardian of the child? The natural guardian of the child, the law said, is first the father and then the mother. It's a woman who would go through the inconvenience, the physical inconvenience of carrying the child in her womb for 9 long months, go through the excruciating pain of labor in giving birth to the child, forget everything else in the world to feed the child at the right time. And at the end of that, what does your law say? The law says the natural guardian of the child is first the father and then the mother. Thanks to the Gita Hariharan verdict that this position of the law had to be changed. So these are all scattered examples and probably many more could be multiplied where we can aptly bring down the fact that हमारे समाज का जब gender equality के लेंस से हम हमारे समाज की तरफ देखते हैं, I think to my mind the bigger problem lies in the fact that we allowed such laws to remain on our statute books, which really kind of made it official that women are really subordinate to men. In the midst of all these kind of laws and the societal mindset and this reality that is there in our society, in the year 1950 happens a momentous thing. On the 26th of January 1950, when our Constitution of India came into force, this was a constitution that made a very, very vocal commitment to the people of India to subscribe to principles of gender justice and gender equality. Recall the glorious preamble to the text of our Constitution, which talks about securing to the people of India justice, socio-economic and political. We read within that the idea of gender justice. Recall that the preamble talks about equality of status and of opportunity. We read within that the constitutional promise of restoring gender equality within the society. The preamble talks about dignity of the individual, a promise to uphold the dignity of the individual, which includes dignity and respect towards women as well. Then we have the Equality Code of our Constitution, Article 15, Clause 1 of which gave a strict mandate to the state and said, the state shall not discriminate on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. Clause 3 of Article 15 then made an enabling provision and empowered the state and said that look, if the state feels the necessity to do that, the state can make special provisions for women and children. ये enabling provision के अंतर्गत दोस्तों हमारे देश में we saw a massive proliferation of different laws that were enacted by the state, which were women-specific legislations. A number of laws that came to be enacted in our country, which were made for women. और यदि हम ये पूरा लीगल लैंडस्केप को स्टडी करने की कोशिश करते हैं, I think women-specific legislations within our country can largely be divided into two categories. One is where we made laws that were protective of women. So these laws were constructed on the premise that women are in need of protection through the strategy of law. And so if we want to protect our women, ये protection का काम कौन करेगा? ये protection का काम laws करेंगे. So these protective legislations adopted a kind of a paternalistic approach, and they said that we will extend protection to women through laws. So that was one strategy of the law. The second strategy of the law was laws that sought to empower women. So if I look at the amendment to the Succession Act, which now says that women can be co-parceners, I look at that as an empowering provision of law. When we talk about reservations for women in public spaces, that is an empowering strategy of the law. When we talk about the state making policies for free education for the girl child, I think that's an example of empowering legislations. So when we look at the myriad laws, today we have so many laws scattered on our legal landscape that are laws which are dedicated to women. They are either protective or they are empowering, but they are laws that are made for women. But ladies and gentlemen, as we look at these laws, ये laws वक्त के साथ साथ बनते गए, बहुत बढ़ते भी गए. सवाल ये है कि क्या ये कानून आते साथ did it change the lived experiences of women? Well, to my mind, the answer is today, if we try to answer this question, maybe slightly yes, but laws बनने के पश्चात तुरंत लोगों के lived experiences में बदलाव नहीं आया. And that is generally the truth, that only by passing laws we can never really solve problems in our life or in our society. So laws were brought in place, but those acting under the laws and the society generally still had a dominatingly patriarchal mindset. So for a large period of time, even after the laws were enacted, हम judgments of court शुरू के दिनों में यदि देखते हैं, they were also somewhere influenced by patriarchy. And the change in this direction happened only very eventually and very, very gradually. आज यदि हम आज की तारीख में देखते हैं, it is no doubt true that women have probably conquered all possible fields that could be. Women have excelled in almost all fields that they have stepped into. But this change has only been very, very gradual, very, very eventual. अब यदि हम देखते हैं, हमें दिखाई देता है कि धीरे धीरे कोर्ट का जूरिस्प्रूडेंस भी वक्त के साथ साथ हमें बदलता हुआ दिखाई देता है. Now, of course, there would be a number of cases that one can cite by way of, concrete examples. But as I talk about this transforming attitude, that is really a step towards recognizing a woman in her own right. That is a step towards real women empowerment within the society. I am unfailingly reminded, ladies and gentlemen, of a verdict of the Supreme Court in a case called Anuj Garg versus Hotels Association of India. This was a case in which a pre-constitutional statute enacted for the state of Punjab, if I rightly recall, that was a law that was enacted in the year 1914. State of Punjab के लिए ये बनाया हुआ कानून था, जिसमें one of the provisions of the statute said that no man below the age of 25 years and no woman shall be employed in any place where intoxicating drinks or liquor is sold or consumed. Okay? So the law placed a ban on the employment of a man below the age of 25 years and a blanket ban on the employment of any woman in any premises where liquor was either sold or consumed. 1914 में जब ये कानून बना, there was no objection to the law. For a very long span of time, for decades together after that, there was no objection to the law because the most convincing narrative that was presented. So the law wants to ensure that women remain safe. The law wants to make sure that their security is not in jeopardy. और इसीलिए हम ये लॉ में ये प्रोविजन डाल रहे हैं जो कहता है कि भाई ऐसे प्रीमाइसेस में महिलाओं को एम्प्लॉयमेंट ही ना दी जाए जहां लिकर कंज्यूम होता है, बेचा जाता है, so that she will not be exposed to occasions of violence or exploitation or whatever. It is not until the year 1999 that an objection came to be raised against this provision. For the first time in 1999, the validity of this provision was challenged before the Delhi High Court, and from there the case moves up to the Supreme Court in the year 2008. And in Anuj Garg versus Hotels Association of India, what is the verdict that the Supreme Court of India gave? The Supreme Court declared this particular provision of the pre-constitutional statute to be unconstitutional. And the court said that look, this is a completely faulty approach that we take, that our law takes. You say that security of women is your major concern. यदि उनकी security ही आपका concern है, you cannot address that concern by banning their entry into the premises. You have to take other legal measures to ensure that women remain safe and secure there. So it is something like saying कि हमें बहुत चिंता है भाई, आप खेलेंगे तो चोट लग जाएगी, चोट ना लगे इस कंसर्न के कारण हम कहते हैं कि आपके क्रिकेट खेलने पे ही बैन लगा दिया. It was something like that, So the court says the right approach should be कि यदि आपको सही में चिंता है कि चोट ना लगे, आप भी कानून बनाइए which makes it compulsory for you to wear the helmet when you play cricket. Make a law which makes it compulsory for you to wear your leg pads while you're playing cricket. So if you want to address the concern of security, the solution lies not in banning the employment of women, but in adopting other strategies to make sure that women remain safe into these spaces. Now, to my mind, when I pondered over the judgment in Anuj Garg, the judgment of the court was no doubt phenomenal. पर मैं मानती हूँ कि वो जजमेंट पर से ज्यादा what is worthy of admiration is the thought process of the court that undergirds the ultimate judgment of the court. जो सोच वोट की रही है कि भाई महिलाओं को प्रोटेक्ट करने का ये तरीका नहीं हो सकता कानून का. You have to adopt more positive measures, different measures to ensure that women remain safe. Now I think in the whole paradigm of gender justice and gender equality, Anuj Garg case inaugurated a new era of reimagining gender justice and gender equality. It was a path-breaking judgment which paved the way for truly what I can call as transformative constitutionalism. क्योंकि यदि हम जेंडर हिस्ट्री की अगेन जेंडर इक्वालिटी या जेंडर जस्टिस की अगेन हिस्ट्री की तरफ देखते हैं तो मुझे लगता है द होल पीरियड कैन बी एक्चुअली डिवाइडेड इनटू टू इंटेलेक्चुअल ट्रेडिशंस. वन वाज द ट्रेडिशन ऑफ अ फॉर्मल रीडिंग ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जिसमें हमने आर्टिकल 15 को समझने के लिए नेचुरल डिफरेंसेस थ्योरी का लॉजिक लगाया. वी सेड नेचुरली men and women are different, so differential treatment to them is justified. And the other intellectual tradition was that of a transformative reading of the Constitution. Anuj Garg, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is a very, very illuminating example of this transformative constitutionalism that we have set ourselves on the road of. Then, of course, judgments to follow in the following years. A lot of examples could be again cited. So we look at Shaira Banu, we look at Joseph Shine. Joseph Shine's judgment, in my opinion, is again loaded with very, very transformative ideas of what gender justice and gender equality could mean under the constitution of our country. But as I talk about all these cases that bring forth this transformative approach in the way we conceive women and their roles, I am unfailingly reminded of two other important cases. One is Babita Punia versus the Union of India, जहां Babita Punia के केस में आर्मी, इंडियन आर्मी के जो रिक्रूटमेंट रूल्स थे उनको चैलेंज किया गया था कोर्ट के सामने, क्योंकि उस समय आर्मी के जो रूल्स थे वो रूल्स में ये कहा कि भाई मेल ऑफिसर्स इन द इंडियन आर्मी आर अलाउड टू साइन अप फॉर परमानेंट कमीशन, बट विमेन ऑफिसर्स इन द इंडियन आर्मी कैन ओनली बी शॉर्ट सर्विस कमीशन ऑफिसर्स, दे कैनॉट अप्लाई फॉर परमानेंट कमीशन. Babita Punia goes up to the Supreme Court and challenges this provision there and says that, look, this is discriminatory. This is violative of Articles 14 and 15 of the Constitution. And the court says, indeed, this provision is discriminatory. It strikes down those recruitment rules and directs the Indian Army to make necessary amendments. उसके पश्चात इंडियन आर्मी ने अपने रूल्स को अमेंड किया और कहा कि भाई देखो, यहाँ से आगे महिलाओं को भी अपॉर्चुनिटी दी जाएगी फॉर अप्लाइंग फॉर द परमानेंट कमीशन. सो gender justice was achieved. You said, look, men and women officers in the Indian Army come at par with each other because now both have the facility to apply for permanent commission. लेकिन ये होने के बावजूद 2 साल के अंदर, if I rightly recall, an officer in the Indian Army named Lieutenant Colonel Nitisha. Lieutenant Colonel Nitisha goes to the Supreme Court of India and challenges these rules once again and says that, look, these rules are still discriminatory. Why does she say they are discriminatory? Because she says, look, after Babita Punia, you implemented a change in the rules, which also was not an easy struggle, mind you. It took a lot of struggle for the army to actually alter its rules. And despite the alteration, she says कि भाई देखो, पुरुषों के लिए आपने शुरू से परमानेंट कमीशन ओपन रखा था, लेकिन हमारे लिए आपके रूल्स ने कहा that short service commission के पश्चात you will have to compulsorily retire, you cannot apply. Now today you come forth and say you can apply as permanent commissioned officers. But before I can be granted that permanent commission, your rules require me at this stage, after I have put in almost 15 years of service, your rules require me at this stage to comply to the same standards of physical fitness जो एक मेल आर्मी ऑफिसर विद इन 5 years ऑफ हिज सर्विस को कर दिखाता है. So, they said that, look, on the face of it, maybe you have kind of complied to the requirements of gender justice, but at the operational level, your rules are still very, very discriminatory. And when the Supreme Court of India actually reviews these rules, it says, yes, indeed, though on the face of it, they are seen to be complying to the demand of equality, at the operational level, they are not really equal for women. क्योंकि जो फिजिकल फिटनेस के स्टैंडर्ड्स एक मेल ऑफिसर ऑफ इंडियन आर्मी को उसकी उम्र के शायद 25 से 30 साल के बीच दिखाना पड़ेगा, वो एक महिला ऑफिसर के लिए 40 to 45 के एज में दिखाना पड़ेगा. And there is no rule in the Indian Army requiring the male officer to continuously show that standard of physical fitness all across that period of service. The court sets aside that rule as discriminatory and says that this is an example of indirect discrimination against women. The court drew a very, very curious distinction here between intention versus effect. तो कोर्ट ने हमको बताया कि भाई हम मानते हैं कि इंडियन आर्मी का इंटेंट नहीं था महिलाओं के अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेट करने का, पर उसका इफेक्ट ये था दैट इट de facto really discriminated against women, and so the court set aside that judgment. Now these judgments, ladies and gentlemen, are judgments of the recent times that are a significant pointer to the change that is coming about within our legal and judicial landscape that is trying to engage more robustly with the real ideas of gender justice and gender equality. Of course, several other examples can be cited, and our esteemed judge this evening is also soon going to be talking about judicial engagement with women empowerment, where I'm sure we'll get to hear of a lot of such judgments which have really been transformative in a wide variety of senses. Friends, as I talk about this overarching change in the attitude and approach that is coming about, and in this long span of time, हमने इतने कानून महिलाओं के लिए हम बनाते गए, one after the other, as we felt the need. We kept on passing laws that were meant to be women-centric laws. And today we stand in the myriad of countless such legislations which has a woman at the center stage of its attention. But at this stage, when we are surrounded by these kind of legislations, and when this responsibility is being put on my shoulders this evening to address what is the role of women in the modern era, especially in the context of these women-centric legislations, I think to be really fair and just to the topic of this evening's discussion, I should not fail in my duty of pointing to the role that women really need to play in the modern era. All of us in this auditorium today belong to the elite educated class, where we are the ones who are fully aware of the laws that have been enacted. Okay? So just as much as I think it is our responsibility in the modern times to help those marginalized women who are in need of these kind of protections through the law, just as much as it is this responsibility of ours, I think in the modern era हमारी एक और बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी बनती है, and I feel that big responsibility is the fact that we as women should never be the agents for misusing these women-centric laws. आज कहीं ना कहीं मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ कि भाई इसका बहुत rampant occasions हमें समाज में दिखने, but somewhere at the horizon we do see the emergence of some cases where these women-centric laws are also getting grossly misused and abused, particularly provisions like Section 498A of the hitherto Indian Penal Code, which, if I'm not wrong, appears as Section 85 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. These have been, all laws like these, when you look at the Sexual Harassment Act or Section 85 of the BNS, I choose to label them as blanket legislations. Why are they blanket legislations? Because they've been enacted with a zeal to protect women. We appreciate the zeal. But the point is that if these laws start getting misused, क्योंकि जब blanket legislations होते हैं, तब they are always very easy to be abused. And that is why I think as women, ये हमारी सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी होती है कि इस कानून का सही उपयोग करना आपसे मुझसे बेहतर कोई नहीं जानता है. So we have to be the ones who can make use of the law for the ones who are really marginalized, who are really exploited, who are really in need of protection through law. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly do not misunderstand me. I am not standing here to argue that women are no longer in need of protection through the strategy of law. They very much are even today. But हमारे समाज का एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जिन महिलाओं को वास्तविकता में इस कानून की जरूरत है, उन्हें शायद पता भी नहीं होता है कि ऐसे लॉज उनके लिए बने हैं. And we see somewhere the emergence of a class that is trying to abuse this kind of blanket legislations. So when I am asked to ponder, why did I really begin with history? So when I look at the role that women must play in the modern era, let's start with the beginning. We started with, role allocation that was grounded in sex, which we said was the root cause behind this whole thing that unfolded in years to come. Have we been able to dismantle that sex-based role allocation? Well, maybe only to a small percentage, yes. हम में से, हमारे जैसे फैमिलीज के में जो लोग यूएस जैसे देशों में माइग्रेट हुए, हमें पता है कि यूएस के घरों में सब पुरुष they do the job of washing the dishes there without anyone really raising objections about that, and they become fine with it. But the same thing in Indian households, are we really accepting that with an open heart? I don't really think we have. Allow me, friends, to just narrate a small personal episode. I don't know whether it's really right to be talking about a very, very private experience, but I will dare to do that today. कोविड के समय में जब सब लॉकडाउन में था, सब कुछ बंद था, most of us cut down on our domestic help and we didn't allow anybody from outside to get into the house. वो एक समय था जब शायद काफ़ी घरों के पुरुष काफ़ी किचन के अंदर एक्टिव हो गए थे, which was an experience that probably all of you would have shared. My husband inside my own house probably went a little more ahead, and he told me one day that, look, I want to try my hands on rolling chapatis. I said, fine. He did it one day and we thoroughly enjoyed it. He did it the second day, he did it the third day, and then one fine day he declared कि भाई जब तक हम घर में हैं, रोटी बनाने का काम मेरा रहेगा. Wholeheartedly, I appreciated the approach of my own husband. But let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, more than what I appreciated him, I actually appreciated my mother-in-law. Why my mother-in-law? Because she is a woman of that generation whose psyche has been trained into that way of thinking. But my mother-in-law did not sit back to create a negative narrative of this incident, saying कि भाई मेरी बहू तो नहीं करती है, बेटा रोटी बना रहा है. This is the role which I believe women in the modern era have to play. Because big changes happen with the smallest of steps that we are able to take. As they say, trifles make perfection, but perfection is not trifle. So I think, have we done away with that sex-based role allocation? Only probably 2 to 3% we've done away with that. So what is the role we need to play? We as women need to play that role of changing our mindset. Secondly, as I said, we should not become participants into abusing laws that are made for our own protection. क्योंकि let us understand, ladies and gentlemen, कि केवल कानून बना के हम समाज के प्रॉब्लम्स को कभी सॉल्व नहीं कर पाएंगे. Because law has one biggest limitation, and that limitation is that laws depend for their effective enforcement on agencies that are outside its own control. And therefore, we as women or men have to take care of the fact हर चीज हमारे घर में शुरुआत होती है. We have to be training the boys inside our house that look, you have to treat every woman with respect. Equally surely, we have to be training our girls inside the house कि भाई देखो कानून आपके लिए है. यदि वाकई में आपको जरूरत पड़ती है, show the courage to make use of that law there and then, so that Me Too movements जैसे movements नहीं आएंगे जहां 25 से 30 साल पश्चात हम कहते हैं 25 साल पहले मेरे अगेंस्ट सेक्सुअल अब्यूज हुआ था. Give them the courage to make use of the law and equally tell them that you have to use the law responsibly. Let me end my talk, ladies and gentlemen, with a small anecdote this evening. There is a place in the United States of America which is called as the Death Valley. It's called as the Death Valley because वहाँ कभी बारिश नहीं होती. It's very hot, there's no vegetation, and no form of life is said to survive there in the Death Valley. But in 2005, suddenly, unexpectedly, it rained very heavily in the Death Valley. And in the following spring of 2006, the Death Valley experienced an unusual phenomenon. The whole valley was carpeted in beautiful, colorful flowers. Friends, what did this phenomenon teach us? This phenomenon taught us that beneath the soil are scattered countless seeds of possibilities that are waiting for the right climatic conditions to come about. When that climate comes, the seeds germinate and they reap a beautiful harvest. Similarly, हमारे समाज के soil में countless seeds of possibilities of a more egalitarian society are scattered all across. For us as women of the modern age, it is our responsibility to create that climate for these seeds to germinate so that they reap a rich harvest and we have a beautiful bouquet for a more just and egalitarian society to present to the world. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience.
Thank you so much, madam, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with us today. Your words of wisdom will surely resonate with us. Thank you, madam. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our great honor to have Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Phalke, madam, as our chief guest today, who had a profound impact on the legal landscape, delivering landmark judgments that have shaped the court of law. Madam's commitment to upholding the principles of justice, equality and fairness has earned a widespread respect and admiration. I would take an opportunity to know about our today's chief guest. Urmila Joshi Phalke, madam, was born on 15th of April 1968. Madam completed her schooling at Ahmednagar. Madam has obtained degree in LLB from Pune University in the year 1991. Madam was enrolled as an advocate in the year 1991 and practiced on civil and criminal side. Madam has worked as a contributory lecturer in New Law College at Ahmednagar and also worked as a public prosecutor in district and sessions court at Ahmednagar since the year 2006 till 31st of May 2008. Madam has joined as a district and sessions judge on 15th of June 2008. As Madam is also a keen sports enthusiast. Madam has elevated an additional judge of esteemed High Court of Bombay on 6th of June 2022. Please welcome to our chief guest and eminent speaker with a huge round of applause. I request Her Ladyship Madam kindly address the gathering.
Good evening. Just now we heard Mrs. Deshpande so exhaustively as she narrated about the development of the law. After her speech, I am really speechless. Today we are celebrating 100 years of the Women's Day, and therefore we all gathered here. Yesterday also in family court we have celebrated the same in a different way. Today's occasion is different. By celebrating the Women's Day globally on 8th March, we are celebrating their achievements also. The theme of this year for the Women's Day is that for all women and girls, rights, equality and empowerment. Madam has told us about the history, how we have achieved the rights, women rights, we can say that. India's history is woven together with the stories of countless great women who opened new doors and raised expectations. One of the examples we have already bore before her, that is Savitri Bai Phule, and because of her we are here today. You are listening here, and I am talking here. Naturally, when we talk about the women's empowerment in India, what is revealed is that the awareness of that right. Madam just has told that we have to do that work, we have to awake the marginalized society who are not aware about their rights. Empowering women is making women realize their self-worth, their abilities to determine their own choice, and shaping the society where women can enjoy their right, respect, just like other humans. काल आम्ही असं बोलताना सांगितलं की आपल्याकडे निर्णय क्षमता नाही आहे का, आपण डिसिजन नाही घेऊ शकत नाही का. आम्ही काल फॅमिली कोर्टात जेव्हा हा कार्यक्रम करत होतो तेव्हा आम्ही त्यांना सांगितलं की आपण निर्णय घेतो, आपण घरी माझ्या एक सिस्टर आहेत जवळ, तर मॅडम त्यांनी तर सगळ्यांना उदाहरण दिलं की घरी जाऊन भाजी काय करायची याचा निर्णयही आपल्यालाच घ्यावा लागतो, आणि कोर्टात घेऊन आता जजमेंट काढायचं याचाही निर्णय आपल्याला घ्यावा लागतो. किंवा आपण जर वकील असेल तर कोर्टात आल्यानंतर त्या पक्षकारासाठी त्याच्या हितासाठी आपल्याला काय निर्णय घ्यायचा तोही आपण घेत असतो. म्हणजे निर्णय घ्यायची क्षमता आपल्यामध्ये नक्कीच असते, आणि ही निर्णय घ्यायची क्षमताच आपल्याला फक्त त्याची जाणीव होणं आवश्यक आहे, असं आम्ही काल बोलता बोलता असं म्हटलो. तर तोच विचार आपल्याला इथेही करता येईल. Swami Vivekananda says there is no chance for the welfare of the world unless the condition of the woman is improved. A bird can't fly only on one wing. The bird needs two wings, and I think male and female are the two wings of this bird. But then question arises whether due to the various enactments and the pain of the woman is whether reduced or lowered down. Despite modern advances in technology, discrimination against women persists. Acid attacks, rampant rapes, dowry deaths, female feticide, sexual harassment at workplace are at rise. Every day we are dealing with the same. The Kofi Annan says, when women thrive, all of society benefits and succeeding generations are given a better start in life. Then we have to take example of our constitution. The Constitution of India guarantees women's legal equality. We know what are the rights given by the Constitution to us. There are various rights, various articles deals with the same. Article 51 states the state shall not discriminate against any citizen of India on the ground of sex, Article 15 3 states the state is empowered to make any special provision for women. In short, this provision enables the state to make affirmative discrimination in favor of women. Article 16 2 states no citizen shall be discriminated against or ineligible for any employment under the state on the ground of sex. Article 39A states the state to secure for men and women equally the right to an adequate means of livelihood. Article 39 states the state is to secure equal pay for equal work for both Indian men and women. Article 39E states the state is required to ensure that the health and strength of women workers are not abused and they are not forced for economic necessity to enter avocations unsuited for their strength. Article 42 states the state shall make provision for securing just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. Article 51A into bracket E states it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of the woman. Article 243D 3 states one-third of the total number of seats to be filled by direct elections in every panchayat shall be reserved for women. Article 243D4 states one-third of the total number of the offices of chairpersons in the panchayat at each level shall be reserved for women. Article 243T3 states one-third of the total number of seats to be filled by direct election in every municipality shall be reserved for women. Article 300A states grants women the freedom to own property, ensuring their right to own and possess the assets. Thus, plenty of provisions are made for us. Then we are having legal rights, various enactments are there for ourselves. Old Indian Penal Code and New BNS Act contains various provisions to protect women from dowry death, rape, kidnapping and cruelty. Really, whether because of these enactments everything is stopped, that is the question which we have to pose ourselves, and then the answer given by the madam is also to be taken into consideration. As madam has given the examples of one or two judgments of the apex court, there are several judgments and therefore we have selected the subject with the consultation of your bar members that what is the role of the judiciary as far as the empowerment of the woman is concerned. Contribution of various judicial pronouncements in protection of rights. The Honorable Supreme Court and the High Courts, by various pronouncements, and not only the High Courts, even the district courts, have attempted to safeguard the rights of women in their various capacities. These legal advancements have greatly influenced structure of a woman. Some example I will quote in Air India versus Nargis Mirza, wherein the policy of Air India was challenged, where the policy was stipulating that air hostesses would retire on reaching the age of 35 or upon marriage, whichever earlier was challenged, while upholding the validity of specific service regulations but struck down the reasonable and discriminatory provisions. Honorable Apex Court held that it violates the principle of equality guaranteed under Article 14 and 15 of the Constitution of India. This landmark has played a crucial role in challenging gender-based employment practices and promoting the principles of equality and non-discrimination in the workplace. The another example is Union of India versus LT Selina John, wherein the Honorable Supreme Court in February 2024 held that rules making marriage of women employees and their domestic involvement a ground for disentitlement would be illegal and directed to pay compensation of ₹60 lakhs to a woman nurse. In Neera Mathur versus Life Corporation of India, a female employee was dismissed from service on account of her failure to correctly declare her last date of menstruation. See what the facts of the case are. She has to declare her last date of menstruation and existence of her pregnancy in her employment declaration from at the time of joining. At the time of joining itself, she has to mention or she has to give a declaration that what was the last date of her menstruation and whether there was an existence of a pregnancy on her employment. That declaration was she has to give. She approached the Supreme Court on the ground that her right to equality guaranteed under Article 14 is violated by the order of said dismissal. The Honorable Apex Court set aside the order of discharge, stating that declaration required in the form was embarrassing and humiliating, and that condition was struck down by the Honorable Apex Court. Then the case of Suchitra Srivastava and another versus Chandigarh administration, the Supreme Court has recognized the fundamental right of a woman to make decision about their reproductive choice. The judgment emphasized that the right to reproductive choice is an integral part of the woman's right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Then comes in Secretary Ministry of Defence versus Babita Punya, just Madam has referred to say. The Supreme Court had directed that permanent commission should be granted to women in army regardless of their service in all 10 streams, where the central government have already taken decision to grant short service commission to women. The court held that absolute exclusion of women from command assignments is against Article 14 of the Constitution and unjustified. The permanent commission was only dream for the female officers, which came true by this decision and the decision in Priyanka Tyagi. In Arvind Kumar Pandey versus Girish Pandey, the Honorable Supreme Court, while recognizing contribution of a homemaker, we know Lata Vadra's case. Whoever dealing with the judicial officers are there and the advocates are there who are dealing with the cases of motor accident claims. Well-known case we know, Lata Vadra, wherein the homemaker's contribution was held to be countless, but as some figure is to be determined, and therefore her income was considered as a 3,000. Thereafter, it was raised in subsequent cases. Thus, the Honorable Supreme Court, while recognizing the contribution of a homemaker, held that activities performed by a homemaker, if counted one by one, are of high order and invaluable. In Prabha Tyagi versus Kamlesh Tyagi, the right of woman residing in share household, even after death of husband, is recognized. Thus, there are several examples. These are some of the examples which we are dealing with. Thus, this range of provisions and laws for women in India safeguards their rights across various aspects of life, such as criminal offences, family issues, service conditions, etc. These laws have played a role shielding women from discrimination. We can take example of the judgment of the Sakshi also, as far as the rape case is concerned, wherein the section 327 of the Criminal Procedure Code was discussed, and thereafter the vulnerable witnesses, that provision came. Thereafter the child witnesses. Now the law is settled to the extent that woman or that rape victim is at a higher pedestal than an injured witness also. If her evidence is inspiring the confidence, then there is no requirement of the corroboration, what the law says. So that is also one type of the protection to the woman. A need is of course awareness and effect implementation. Laws are there, but whether they are implemented or not, that is required to be seen. And for the proper implementation, of course, the awareness of these provisions with the poor strata of the society who are not at all aware about these provisions is the utmost requirement of today's society. We are celebrating today the Women's Day. There are several maids are serving at our house. Whether we have inquired whether they knows what is the day today or what is the 8th of March, because they are not aware about the same. They are not celebrating. Usually they are coming on the work, they are discharging their duties and they are going home. They are not celebrating this day. When they will celebrate after 100 years of the celebration of the Women's Day, they are not aware about the same. I offered up one flower to my maid. She asked me, "Aaj madam kaha hai?" So that is the thing we have to arrive in that they have to know that what are the provisions which are beneficial for them, what are the provisions which are made for them, and when it would reach to the last person of the society, then and then we can say that yes, these provisions are beneficial for the woman and they are benefited by that. Being a student of a law or being the professionals in the law or being the persons who are dealing day to day in the subject of the law, we are aware about these provisions, we are dealing with the same. But ask your client. You sometimes I ask the person who is coming before me, तुम्हाला काय माहिती आहे का याच्यामध्ये काय लिहिलेलं आहे, ॲफिडेव्हिटमध्ये काय लिहिलेलं आहे, असं जर मी त्यांना विचारलं तर ती म्हणते नाही वकील साहेबांनी लिहिलंय किंवा वकील मॅडमनी लिहिलंय. पण का लिहिलंय ते, का लिहिलंय हे कुणालाच माहिती नसतं. आणि मग असा प्रश्न पडतो की फक्त आपण त्यांना मदत करतोय, पण खरंच हा कायदा काय आहे किंवा या कायद्याच्या प्रोव्हिजन्स काय आहेत आणि कसा तो आपल्यासाठी वापरला गेलाय किंवा कसा तो आपल्यासाठी उपयोगात आणलाय हे खरंच त्यांच्यापर्यंत पोहोचतंय का, त्यांच्यापर्यंत कळतंय का. आपल्याकडे आपण बघतो तर डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवलला किंवा इव्हन हायकोर्टात आहे आपले सेल्स आहेत, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लीगल एड कमिटी आहे, वेगवेगळे लोक आपण अपॉइंट केलेले आहेत या अवेअरनेससाठी. They are roaming all over the district for the awareness, but really they are also having some restrictions about the same and they can't reach there, otherwise not. Protection of women along with its enforcement. True equality can ensure better democratic system and values. The protection and welfare of women is the need of an hour. While concluding, I will only say, what is the greatest lesson a woman should learn? That since the day one, she has already had everything she needs within herself. And when we understand this, that everything is within ourselves, then and then only we are empowered, otherwise not. A district collector of Varda district was sharing a dais with me in one function because I am the guardian judge of the Varda district. And then in one of the programs he asked the audience that that one question was asked to her, that how you will be empowered, what you will get, how you will define yourself that you are empowered. And then she was expecting the answer from the audience, but none came forward. And then she answered that it is within me. Unless and until I understand that the empowerment is within me, then and then only. So, in other words, we have to help ourselves and then we can help the others, otherwise not. So, train ourselves to the extent that we can help ourselves, we can use. The madam has said, we have to train ourselves first, then we can train our children, and then after the society. So first train ourselves that we are having that power in ourselves, we are empowered ourselves, and when we will realize that, then and then only we are empowered. Otherwise, even the pronouncement of the various decisions or the various enactments which are passed in our favor are not useful for us. And therefore, we'll only say that empowered yourself, and then the next Women's Day will be with more empowerment in the women's, and then there is no necessity of such lectures, and then you will say by standing at this place, yes, we are empowered by these enactments and these judicial pronouncements. So this is the short contribution according to me of the various judicial pronouncement which is helping all the women in their empowerment. Initially, I have not taken the names of the persons who are present along with me on dais, because I want to thank you everyone. This is the first occasion for me to come this district court. For the inauguration of this building, I was there, but then in the last year for the women's program also, women's day program also, I was present there. But that we three were there. today president has called only me. So is this a discrimination? What you say? This is only upliftment. But why? Why? This was not required. We three are at equal level. But they have not called because they are the members of this bar. Both are the members of this bar, and I am new to this place because I am not native from the Nagpur, and therefore president of the Nagpur Bar Association has called me for this program. I am very much thankful to him. Here today, Principal District Judge Mr. Surana is present. I worked along with him at various fields, because when I was working as a city civil judge, he was a secretary of Malsa, and he used to send always a message, "Madam, do this, madam, do that." Now I can send him a message. Mr. Surana, do this. I heard a lot about District Judge Pomche, but first time I'm meeting her. I heard about her comparing and everything. So thank you to her also for sharing the dance. And not the least, Madam Deshpande. I have visited her college, but I think we met first time. Or we met. Okay. So I have visited the another place. So really, we are enlightened, even me. We are enlightened by your the enthusiastic lecture, because we are always told as the judges, talk less, speak less. So being your lecturer, you have to talk for 45 minutes, right? But we are always told that, madam, you are working as a judge now. You have to talk less. You have to use pen more. So like this, I am talking less than you. And also, I am thankful to the secretary, Madam Gujar. She always enthusiastic in meeting us on various aspects, calling us, communicate with us. She always present in various programs in the High Court, Vidarbha Lady Lawyers Association also. And I am most thankful to all you audience who gathered here in so much numbers. And I should not forget the male members of the male office bearers or the male members of the bar. रिअली खरं सांगते मी तुम्हाला की असं पिक्चर बघायला नाही मिळत. कारण वुमेन्स डे म्हटलं, काल त्या सतुजा साहेबांनी काही लोकांना, काही मेल मेंबर्सना बाहेर काढलं म्हणे की कारण म्हणे की वुमेन्स डेचा प्रोग्राम आहे, वुमेन्सला जागा मिळाली पाहिजे म्हणून. पण मग आम्हाला असं वाटतं की आम्ही त्यांच्या बाबतीत डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करता कामा नये, म्हणून आज आम्ही पहिल्या रो मध्ये जागा दिली सगळ्यांना. सगळ्या ज्युडिशियल ऑफिसर्सना आम्ही पहिल्या रो मध्ये जागा दिली. तर तुम्ही पण आलात या ठिकाणी, म्हणजे महिला दिनाचा कार्यक्रम असताना सुद्धा यू ऑल गॅदर्ड इन सो मच नंबर्स. वी आर रिअली थँकफुल टू यू फॉर लिसनिंग अस, फॉर लिसनिंग द एम्पॉवरमेंट ऑफ वुमन अँड फॉर दिस ऑगस्ट गॅदरिंग ऑल्सो. थँक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much, madam, for your kind words and valuable knowledge. This will definitely inspire all of us. Thank you. I am delighted to see so many of strong and inspiring women here today. The energy and enthusiasm of all women here is incredible. You all are the true superheroes as well as role models who is managing households, careers and personal lives with such a ease. I just want to quote 2 lines to all the super women are here. बनकर आंधी तूफानी लड़ती जा जुल्म से मर्दानी, तू शक्ति है, तू ज्वाला है, तू दुर्गा और तू ही भानी. With this, the District Bar Association Nagpur would like to felicitate our today's chief guest, Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Phake Madam, with shawl, shrifa and memento. Dr. Varsha Deshpande Madam with shawl, shrifa and memento. Thank you to Advocate Vishakha Mishra Madam and Advocate Kokriya Madam to present a bouquet to our chief guest, Urmila Joshi Phalke Madam. Thank you, Madam. As we come to the end of this incredible program, I would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable Justice Urmila Joshi Phalke Madam, for gracing us with your presence and sharing valuable insights with us. Thank you so much, Madam. I would like to thank our today's speaker, respected Dr. Varsha Deshpande Madam. Your contribution were truly enlightening, and we all are very grateful for your time and knowledge. Thank you, Madam. I would like to thank Honorable Principal District Judge Shri D.P. Surana Sir for your constant support and valuable guidance. I would like to thank Honorable Judge Srimati Shripada Pamshi Madam for your valuable presence. I would like to thank every judges here for your valuable presence. I would like to thank Advocate Roshan Bagre Sir and Advocate Manish Devi Sir for your valuable guidance and support. I would like to thank Advocate Usha Guzar Madam, one of the incredible lady leader of our District Bar Association, who is always full of energy and tries to motivate every woman, who is always ready to support and guide, and who never says no to anyone, and always ready, especially for positive things, and always says, "हो करूया आपण सगळे." So thank you so much, Madam, for always being there. I would like to thank each and everyone who helps to make this program a grand success. Last but not the least, I specially thank to all the beautiful audience here and beyond. Thank you for your valuable presence. Thank you for everything you do. May we continue to support each other, uplift one another, and empower future generations of women to dream big, lead boldly, and live free. On behalf of District Bar Association, I would like to wish you all wonderful ladies a happy Women's Day. Enjoy the rest of your event and let's keep celebrating the power of women. Once again, thank you so much everyone. Please join us for height. Thank you. I request all the judicial officers to please come on to dais for a group photo with our chief guest. Thank you.